Scusi, io capisco italiano, non posso parlare, ma capisco. E solo due breve notizie nella lingua dell'imperialismo. I have to change to English. First, you cannot imagine how proud I am to be in this city, Mantova, because for a very specific reason, I like opera, German and Italian, and I think that Mantova is associated with Monteverdi, who is the father of it all, and the most beautiful aria of Monteverdi is, of course, of Ariadne, lasciatemi morire. Okay, today my slogan is lasciatemi parlare, but that's what, please. And what, my good friend, I'm honored to be with him here, already pointed out, that I like to mix high theory and low culture. That's what I like, for example, I cannot resist to say this, in Italian cinema. Yeah, they are good, your big names, Fellini, Antonioni, but your true contribution to 20th century civilization, I think, are three cinema genres that I remember from my youth. First, peplum, Maciste contra Ercole and so on. I still think the best Sergio Leone is his first film, you remember, Il Colosso di Rodio, which is a great peplum. The second genre, spaghetti, so-called spaghetti western, and I don't mean the big one, Sergio Leone. I forgot the director, but you can get it on Pirate Bay. There is an excellent version of Hamlet, Johnny Amleto, which is a spaghetti western, takes place in Wild West, and it condenses the story in an excellent way. Why do I like it? You will think now, postmodern jokes. No, I noticed that all the best version of big classics have to be done by a foreign culture. For example, you don't agree. Okay, for the time being, I tolerate it. Okay. For example, for me, apart from this Hamlet, the best Dostoevsky is Akira Kurosawa, Idiot, Hakuchi from 46, 47. You need a distance. Only a foreign culture can do it. I don't believe in fidelity to the original. What a good version on cinema does it is to change the original story, but in such a precise way that it brings out something that was there but repressed already in the original. Sorry. I like something. Sorry, I will stop quickly. You applauded to my English original, and I was so hurt that you didn't applaud to the translation, so I don't know how it works. You deserve it. But you, okay, sorry, just one more remark about this, a story that I use in one of my books. I hope it will convince you. What I mean by this small change. You, of course, all know by heart, I will not lose time telling you the story, Benigni's La Vita è Bella. You know how I would change the story. At the end, when father is taken away to be shot, the son should just add to the father his last words, letting him know that it wasn't just the father who pretended they're in a big competition, that the son knew of this deception all the time. He also just pretended to believe it to make it easier for his father. Wouldn't this be an infinitely more sad version? Ah, now you wait for the translation. No, now you don't. Now I will get close to what I know will be your questions. The third genre, don't underestimate them. Some are excellent. These easy pre-pornographic sex comedies from 60s, 70s. Just to give you one example, top, theoretically top. I forgot the director, Conviene far bene l'amore, which is a kind of a nightmarish vision of a future without energy, where they discovered that the energy to get energy is to get it while couples are making love. But it only works if you are not in love with your partner. So they convinced the Pope to change the doctrine. It's sinful to be in love with your partner. And then I like this Stalinist working place scene. Twice a week, all couples between, I don't know, 20 and 50 has to visit a big hall with beds. They make love, and a kind of a controller worker shouts, you second table there, move a little bit faster, and so on. This may be a joke, but it's not, as you know, when we talked before, today's superego is gaudy, enjoy. We have to enjoy. We feel guilty if we don't enjoy. That's why today, la psychoanalysis, its lesson is no longer, we will liberate you of the obstacles, enjoy. No, we will liberate you of the pressure to enjoy. Grazie. A voi.
Peraltro leggere Lacan è un libro che si sofferma proprio, un libro di Slavoj che si sofferma proprio su questo rovesciamento dei contenuti del superio, che non è più quello che dice non devi godere, ma è quello che dice devi godere. Ecco, la prima domanda che ho preparato per Slavoj in qualche modo vedrete che è connessa con questo discorso della novità dei contenuti del superio contemporaneo. Mi è successo, gli raccontavo prima al bar, ed è il mio modo per cominciare a discutere del libro che ha appena pubblicato, cioè Hegel e il cervello postumano. Ci stiamo entrando poco a poco. Mi è capitato un paio di anni fa sul passante ferroviario di Milano, stavo viaggiando, sono saliti due ragazzi, si sono seduti vicino a me e hanno cominciato a raccontarsi le loro cose che io inevitabilmente ascoltavo. E uno dei due diceva all'altro, sì, sai, sono uscito con lei ieri sera, però cioè, proprio non va, io non so più come fare, non funziona. E allora, siccome bisogna essere trasparenti, gliel'ho detto e lei chiaramente non l'ha presa bene, ci è rimasta male, è stata una scenata. Ecco, mi interessava in questo aneddoto la frase bisogna essere trasparenti, perché forse è uno dei nuovi contenuti del superio contemporaneo. In generale parole come trasparenza, come immediatezza sono diventate degli slogan, delle parole d'ordine che oggi ci sono proposte e in un certo modo imposte. La domanda a Slavoj è che cosa direbbero il tuo Hegel e il tuo Lacan, che hanno lavorato sul temi della contraddizione, della mediazione, dell'inconscio, e l'inconscio è ciò che per definizione non è trasparente. Che cosa direbbero quindi il tuo Hegel e il tuo Lacan a questo ragazzo che osserva il comandamento del superio, bisogna essere trasparenti?
Thanks for this very precise question, because yes, you touched the very core of my argumentation. You know, we often hear, unfortunately also with some pro-feminist, pro-gay rights whom I absolutely support and respect, but at some point I don't agree with them. Namely, we hear often, oh, Freud is outmoded, but no, what bothers me with some of these people is that they really act as if Freud didn't exist, as if there is no unconscious. The idea is we are basically a self-identical person. If you look deep into yourself, you discover what you want, and obstacles come from outside, patriarchal repression, and so on, and so on. And a British lady, Elizabeth Angel, okay, strange name, wrote a wonderful book where she develops how the whole, how this idea of yes means yes, which I, of course, support against violence, but it presupposes that you know what you want. But the whole point of Freud, and the whole point of even human sexuality, is that it's this play of mediation between what you want, you never really desire what you want, there is a tension, and so on. Sorry, first do this, then.
Wait a minute. No, you have to finish.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I don't know
okay,
what to
then
write.
go to sleep and.
No, I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to work.
Okay, sorry.
But the point of Freud.
Yeah, is precisely just think about something. Isn't our sexual life such that we have secret, obscene dreams, and the most horrible thing that can happen to you sometimes is that what you secretly dream about, but you are too ashamed to assume it publicly, is enforced brutally on you from the outside. There is, I think, there isn't any more traumatic experience. Now, this, to avoid a misunderstanding, and I will conclude, this doesn't mean that I support male chauvinists who say, oh, she said no, but she meant yes, she doesn't know what she wants. No, the situation is even worse. I'm more a feminist here than those who claim yes, only yes means yes. No, even yes doesn't necessarily mean yes. You can say yes from a subtle pressure. For me, you know, I just take seriously Freud's idea of the divided subject of the unconscious. So again, this doesn't mean, oh, I can do whatever I want with a woman, I can always claim she gave me signals. No. Even in that case, I can be very violent. And it's even the most subtle violence is the type of violence where I can claim, oh, I just did what you called me to do. So I think to really discover all types of sexual violence today, we need Freud more than ever. We have to abandon this myth of direct transparency where if I just open myself, you cannot really open yourself. And this line of thought is finished. I will add a sentence, but different one. So please try to do something with this mess. Just one sentence to finish. You know, along these lines, what always fascinates me. In our everyday self-awareness, our immediate self-image is, I think, as a rule, a mask, oppression. And I like those stories, fictional, where you need to play a role or put on a mask to confront what is deeper in you. Like, the only way to tell the truth is not by openly looking into you, but to play a fictional game. Or as Lacan put it, the truth has the structure of a fiction. I would like here, don't kill me, but it's a nice story, to give you a wonderful example that I read about it. You know this old myth of Orson Welles, when he staged the War of the Worlds in 1938. People took it as a serious thing, tens of thousands fled their home, and so on. Now, researchers discovered that this is a pure myth. There was no panic. They looked at hospital records, at police records. Maybe 5 or 10 people escaped from home. So it was a myth, but a myth which made us aware of something deeply true. How we are prone to accept conspiracy theories and so on and so on. So sometimes a fiction can tell the truth.
And now
What,
we wait for translation.
what was the Lacan quote, the truth?
La vérité surgit de la
Surgit de la...
méprise. Or, the truth has come si dice in italiano truth? Verità. Verità ha la struttura di una fiction. Now you translate it into English, please.
Non c'è pace per gli interpreti, mai.
I have to add something, you will like it. You are now approaching the top list of my translators, but you haven't yet reached a lady when I gave a talk 10 years ago in Shanghai. Somebody asked me an unpleasant question. Unpleasant in the sense that I didn't know the answer. So I improvised for 10 minutes in a confused way. The lady translated it into Chinese with one sentence. I was shocked. I know, different temporalities of different times, but not like that. So I asked her, how did she translate?
It happened to Derrida in Japan, too.
Also, yeah. He said, I just told them, professor is confused and bluffing, he's just improvising something. So you, please, you are moving in the right direction. Maybe because this is a crucial topic, sorry, don't kill me, they will like it, I hope so. I will give you another well-known example of this. You know Hannah Arendt, Eichmann, in Jerusalem. It's a beautiful theory, the banality of evil. Eichmann was just pretended to be a bureaucrat who orders. But you know what recent investigations demonstrated? It's a beautiful and correct theory. Just it's not true for Eichmann. Eichmann was a strict Nazi fanatic and joined. She took a wrong example to develop a theory which is deeply true. And I'm saying this is not just a chance. Quite often, to develop a correct theory, you have to begin with a fiction, with a wrong example. No, mi uccidete.
No, ma non lo uccidiamo.
Even in sexuality, this holds. Sometimes stupid people think I can help them, and if they ask me to help them in their traumas, it means they really need a psychiatrist. So they ask me, like, I'm impotent, a guy told me, what can I do? My answer is, in your sense, just don't tell yourself, I just have to forget everything, do it spontaneously. I advise them a bureaucratic way. Sit down with your lover and make a plan. First, I will touch your fingers, then the ears, then there. Then you enjoy making plan. No, let's exchange. First a kiss your breast, then I put the finger. And I guarantee you will get so immersed into bureaucracy that at the end, everything will be okay. The lesson of psychoanalysis here is very important. It's not just this negative theological stupidity, the big incestuous enjoyment is impossible and so on. No, the opposite is also true. No matter how much you try, you cannot get rid of godimento, of enjoyment. This is all the obsessional strategy. You want to do something, you cannot do it, it's prohibited, and you do some rituals of prohibition, but then you begin to enjoy these very rituals of prohibition. The formula is that the repression of desire turns into desire of repression. Like that, again, you try to enjoy the very renunciation to enjoyment. That's the nature of human sexuality. I rather don't interpret that evil sound that you emitted now.
Il mondo, where do we go now?
It's his problem.
It's his problem.
Alle parole d'ordine che ho sottoposto prima a Slavoj, cioè trasparenza e immediatezza come parole d'ordine del superio contemporaneo, se ne va aggiungendo un'altra che in qualche modo vuole portare agli estremi l'idea della trasparenza e della immediatezza. Questa parola d'ordine è stata proposta da Ray Kurzweil, che è un ingegnere, inventore, collaboratore della NASA, capo degli ingegneri di Google e futurologo, del cui lavoro Slavoj discute nel libro Hegel e il cervello postumano. Quando si parla di cervello postumano, l'edizione originale del libro è The Wired Brain, quindi il cervello connesso, ci si riferisce innanzitutto alle ricerche di Kurzweil, il quale ha pubblicato qualche anno fa un libro intitolato The Singularity is Near, la singolarità è vicina. E questa è la parola che in qualche modo estremizza l'esigenza di trasparenza, l'esigenza di immediatezza di cui abbiamo discusso fin qui. Vi dicevo che Kurzweil è anche un futurologo, fa delle predictions, delle predizioni. Secondo lui, entro il 2029 le macchine saranno in grado di superare il test di Turing, che è il test proposto nel 1950 dal matematico e computer scientist Alan Turing, che serve a capire se una macchina è capace di pensare come un essere umano. Secondo Kurzweil, nel 2029 le macchine supereranno questo test e secondo lui, intorno alla metà degli anni 40, quindi tra non molto tempo, si potrebbe arrivare alla singularity, all'avvento della singolarità, termine col quale lui indica la possibilità di integrazione tra l'intelligenza umana e l'intelligenza artificiale, che porterebbe ad un salto di qualità nella vita del pianeta, un salto evolutivo nella vita del nostro pianeta attraverso la interconnessione cerebrale. Quindi la possibilità di trasmissione del pensiero fra l'intelligenza umana e l'intelligenza appunto artificiale. Questo sarebbe la radicalizzazione, come capite, della trasparenza e dell'immediatezza, perché trasmissione cerebrale vuol dire non c'è bisogno di digitare, non c'è bisogno di parlare, non c'è bisogno di mediazione del linguaggio per arrivare a questa fusione. Ecco, Slavoj, cosa dici con il tuo Hegel, con il tuo Lacan a Ray Kurzweil?
Thank you. I will really try, I apologize for what I said before, to be now for the next questions much more brief. First thing that I distrust in this idea of singularity is that a term which originally, as far as I know, you can correct me, originally appeared in quantum cosmology or already with Einstein. No. Singularity, Big Bang, the zero level, and so on. When this is translated or transformed into a term to describe a psychic life, we are back at your problem of mediation. I think that, yes, singularity is a myth, but a myth that can emerge only in a finite being which is not in singularity. By this, I mean the following. The whole human effort is based on having the proper obstacles that you never can overcome. And all the metaphysical dimension is to fill in the gap of some basic impossibility. And if the obstacle disappears, you don't get, that's the trick, you don't, now I will give you an example that I use in some of my books. The obstacle, when the obstacle disappears, that's the formula, you don't get what the obstacle prevented you the access to it. You lose also that beyond. You lose everything. I'm sorry for this example, I mean it in a most respectful way, although it will appear a little bit male chauvinist. A lady that I met in Latin America at some conference, we were flirting probably, told me that her last lover, when he saw her naked, told her that except for being 1-2 kilos too heavy, her body would have been perfect. And I immediately exploded. I told her, just don't lose 1 or 2 kilos. Because you see the paradox, the perfection was born through this obstacle. There are certain obstacles which generate the ideal how it would be without the obstacle. You get rid of the obstacle, you don't get a perfect body. You get just an ordinary body. And that's what I don't get, not only with Kurzweil, but with Elon Musk and all others. That's what I don't get in with these theorists of singularity. Yes, who knows? Maybe this direct brain-to-brain communication so that we will be without language and so on, maybe it will arrive, I doubt, maybe. But I don't think that we will get something that we dream about now. It will be a totally different dimension, who knows what, but at least sexuality and creativity, the way we know them now, will disappear. Again, because the whole game of sexuality is playing with obstacles. For example, sorry, I will not be personal, so abstractly. Let's say, I don't even want to specify it sexually. There is a lady or a man or trans, whatever, up there, and we are flirting. Can you imagine what happens if our brains are directly connected? There is no flirting. We just exchange thoughts. I want to do it, I don't want to do it, okay, nothing. Or everything disappears. So you see my point. Only through obstacles does flirting, sexuality, the way we know it, and even, I claim, human creativity emerges. Some cognitivists that I don't like Steven Pinker, claim that today it's the end of philosophy. Science took over metaphysical questions. Like if you today want to know do we have a free will? Or do time and space have a beginning? You don't ask philosophers. You ask quantum physicists, no? But they don't answer this enigma. If metaphysics is about a meaningless, impossible questions, why is the entire history of humanity obsessed with these questions? I try to maintain a space for philosophy, in spite of scientific progress, and again, to maintain a space of impossibility. I think a basic impossibility is what characterizes human sexuality and human creativity. So,
Abbiamo 10 minuti e quindi facciamo un'ultima domanda che mi viene in qualche modo sollecitata dall'ultima risposta che avete ascoltato. Nel suo libro Slavoj descrive questa possibilità di una connessione universale cervello e con le intelligenze artificiali come la distopia di una marmellata spirituale collettiva. E contro questa idea della marmellata spirituale collettiva difende la resistenza che l'inconscio umano potrebbe esercitare in quanto non assorbibile in questa marmellata. E per caratterizzare l'inconscio lui cita e commenta una battuta dal film Ninotchka di Ernst Lubitsch. La battuta è questa: cameriere, una tazza di caffè senza panna, per favore. Spiacente signore, non abbiamo panna, solo latte. Posso farle un caffè senza latte? Ecco, capite che questo senza ricopre una funzione analoga al senza, anzi al con dei chili di troppo della signora portoghese, perché nel libro è portoghese, adesso era diventata sudamericana. Non vogliamo entrare in questo...
I'm lying, it's from a different country, I just don't want to tell, of course.
Ecco, di fatto è sempre, per rimanere alla battuta, è sempre e solo lo stesso caffè nero, ma il senza, l'assente, cambia sostanzialmente i termini della questione. L'assenziale, come viene tradotto nel libro, esercita una funzione decisiva sulla percezione di ciò e sul desiderio di ciò che è presente. Insomma, questo è quanto mi è parso di aver colto. I profeti della singolarità, e non si tratta solo di Kurzweil, Slavoj ha fatto anche il nome di Elon Musk, perché Elon Musk sta finanziando insieme con altri un grande progetto che si chiama Neuralink, di cui Slavoj discute nel libro, perché le cose vadano nel senso della integrazione cervelli umani-macchine, evitandoci di diventare, dice Musk, i gatti di casa. Se noi perdiamo l'occasione di integrare i nostri cervelli tra loro e con quelli delle macchine, secondo Musk il nostro destino è quello dei cervelli di casa. Scusate, dei gatti di casa, vabbè, ma sono... Quindi ecco, la domanda è questa: i profeti della singolarità come Kurzweil e come Musk ignorerebbero il ruolo degli assenziali? E qui cito una cosa molto bella che tu scrivevi già nel Benvenuti nel deserto del reale, il ruolo di ciò che non esiste e per questo motivo insiste.
Grazie, c'è una buona...
Aiuto.
Prego?
Aiuto, help.
In quel senso, help.
I see something complex coming.
No.
No.
I just want that I like so much this Ninotchka joke because I think I mentioned it in the book. We in Socialismo Reale, Real Socialism, had the same version, another version of the same logic of absentials. A customer goes to a store and you say, do you have or not toilet paper, which was a legendary object always missing. And the person there says, sorry, you are in the wrong store. We are the store which doesn't have butter. The store across the street is the one which doesn't have toilet paper, you know. So I hope to make it nonetheless totally clear, you got the paradox that you enumerated. In this case of Ninotchka, we can get three versions of coffee. Caffè puro, simple, caffè con latte, e caffè con crema, o come si dice? Yes. They are materially the same. What differentiates them is just their absence. And maybe you can correct me, I'm not bluffing. I asked many programmers whom I met, can you capture this absence which is determining, like this difference between plain coffee and coffee without milk, although they're materially the same? Can you capture it through at least present stage of programming, computer programming, which can be then used in singularity and so on? They admitted they didn't give me an answer, and now I will surprise you and be short. To conclude an explanation, mega great theological, why it's not a postmodern joke, why I define, okay, now we will say this is Freudian denegation, no? I negate something obvious, no? Okay, why do I define myself as an atheist Christian? Because I think the same operation is at work in the very core of Christianity, which mostly is ignored by usual Christians. When you feel separated from God, the usual religious answer is pray, do good works, you will come closer to God. Christian answer is totally different. It is what happens in your Christian enlightenment is that you identify with God, but with Christ, God, at the moment that Christ himself is separated from his Father. You know that, Father, why have you forsaken me? So you identify with God by just transposing your separation from God into God himself. The separation is already there. That's, for me, what is unique in Christianity. It doesn't bring a big solution or whatever. So again, the basic point for me is that human language, the whole human civilization is based on, the English term is absentials. Things which don't exist, and they even never existed, but are needed to make the whole apparatus functioning. They are needed as the constitutive absence. Something is not there, and this makes the machine functioning. And again, now we don't have time to go into it, but just to conclude, really, when I talked with Mio Amico before, we agreed that the point here is not necessarily a kind of pessimism, because my book, Il Cervello, Hegel, Il Cervello, is much more open and ambiguous here. My big question is, even if this Neuralink succeeds, will this mean the end of humanity? In the sense of we will be just part of a digital machine, Or is there a dimension of our mind which will nonetheless escape Neuralink? And I try to locate it at two levels. First, the Freudian unconscious, which for me, here I follow Jacques Lacan, is not the unconscious of some deep, almost biological drives, instincts, traumas, but has precisely this purely negative virtual status. It's structurally presupposed as the absential of our awareness, and a much more risky point, the second thing that will, I think, escape Neuralink is subject. Not person, subjectivity, inner life, and so on, but precisely this soggetto di Descartes, pure cogito, and I'm so sad because you wanted to ask me. It's my fault. Yes, I have half a minute now. Because I think that this is also our problem today with pandemic, with global warming, and so on. I accept a terrifying conclusion, and I understand all those who resist vaccination and so on. In some sense, they are right. Not in the sense that it's true what they claim, but they are well aware that what we identify till now as our being human, person, certain modes of socializing, way of life, it is disappearing, but we will remain pure subjects. So, against those humanists who say we must survive as human person, subjectivities, the hubris, the horror, I say the exact opposite. There will be a post-human subjectivity. Finito. You know my old joke, I repeat it all the time. Sono un buon stalinista because, sorry if you know it, you know that a difference big between Nazism, fascism, and Stalinism is when the leader gives a speech. Mm-hmm. In fascism, Hitler or Mussolini, maybe I'm wrong for Mussolini, but for Hitler I know, he just accepts the applause. In Stalinism, the leader joins the applause. So I'm a Stalinist. Okay, thank you.
I think I lost a bit. At some point you said, today with the pandemic and the global warming, I understand those who refuse.
Because our way of life is really...
What? The idea, the awareness that there is global warming?
No, they are aware that all these measures that are imposed on us really threaten what we identified till now as being human. Yeah. That's the whole point of your Giorgio Agamben, no? That we are, we will survive, but not as human beings in the sense. And I think my conclusion is horribly clear. So what? We have to sacrifice being human.
We have to sacrifice.
Yes. Oh, no, I'm a hard guy here, you know. Come dice Umberto Bossi, no? Sono durissimo. Although he meant it in a different way.
E qua ti ho perso, Slavoj. Che fa il vero cristiano quando si sente separato da Dio?
Voi sapete questo nel
Vangelo.
Vangelo, per me, for me, the crucial statement of that on Christ on the cross, sì. Emi, lama, Father, why did you abandon me? Mm-hmm. And as my favorite theologist, Gilbert Keith Chesterton, said, at that moment is as if God himself becomes an atheist. There is a radical split in God himself. And I should identify it with Christ at that point. I don't get closer to God, but I see that God himself is already separated from himself.
Marina Astrologo, Mauro Carbone, Slavoj Žižek, Festival Letteratura.
You know what you should say? You should do to become a real Hegelian. You should now thank me for my speech. You should thank her for an excellent translation. And the moment of self-reflexivity, you should thank yourself.